All right, let's talk about something that's a massive opportunity for some companies and a huge, huge roadblock for others. We're diving into federal cloud compliance. You know, for any cloud service provider, getting this right is the key to unlocking some of the most valuable contracts on the planet.
I mean, if you're in the cloud services game, the answer to that is a huge yes, right? The U.S. federal government is literally the single largest buyer of goods and services in the world. But here's the catch. To even get a seat at that table, you have to meet an incredibly high bar for security.
And that bar? Well, it's set by these two big ones, FedRAMP and DoD IL4/5. Now, don't think of these as just more regulations you have to follow. Think of them as achievements. They're a signal that you are absolutely among the most trusted and secure providers out there.
And let's be really clear here. This isn't just another security checklist you can breeze through. The stakes for getting this right are enormous. Failure isn't just a setback. It can mean being completely locked out of a multi-billion-dollar market.
You know, a great way to think about this whole process is to picture it as climbing the Mount Everest of cloud security. It is a grueling, super complex climb, and honestly, a lot of companies fail. But for the ones who actually make it to the summit, the view and that business opportunity is just unmatched.
So where do most organizations stumble on this epic climb? Well, time and time again, it really comes down to one critical make-or-break hurdle, managing digital identity at the absolute highest level of assurance.
Okay, so you're going to see these acronyms everywhere. IL3, AL3, and FL3. Put them all together, and they make up what's called Digital Identity Level 3. This is the absolute peak, the gold standard for the government's requirements when it comes to proving a person is exactly who they say they are.
So let's break this down. It really comes down to 3 stages. First up is IAL3. You have to prove someone's identity, and I mean beyond a shadow of a doubt. Next is AL3. That person has to get a super high assurance credential, something like a smart card. And finally, FL3. They use that credential to access the secure system. So it's prove, get, access. It's like a chain where every single link has to be absolutely perfect.
So, how in the world do you forge a chain that strong without getting totally lost in the weeds? Well, that's where a solution like PresenceID comes into the picture.
And the magic phrase here is purpose-built. See, PresenceID wasn't just adapted from something else. It was engineered from the ground up specifically to tackle the government's highest identity standards. So when you look at what it does, its core capabilities map perfectly to the requirements we just talked about. It handles the IAL3 identity proofing, the AAL3 credential issuance for hardware like YubiKeys, and the FAL3 trusted certificates for access. It's basically an out-of-the-box system that's designed to meet the entire NIST 863 standard, which is the government's official rulebook for all this.
And this is a big one. It's designed for how we actually work today. It doesn't matter if your employees go to a secure kiosk somewhere, or if you use a unit right in your own office, or even if a mobile unit comes to you for a big enrollment day. The process is flexible, it's secure, and it's compliant. For hybrid and remote teams, this is absolutely essential.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, sure, but there have to be other ways to do this, right? And yeah, there are. But, and this is a big but, not all solutions are created equal. Let's dig into what really makes this approach different.
Just look at the difference. On one side, you've got the old school way, it's manual, it's strictly in person, it creates tons of headaches and friction, and trying to scale it is a total nightmare. On the other side, you've got the PresenceID model. It's automated, it allows for supervised remote proofing, and it was built from day one to scale with almost no friction.
Let's get even more specific and look at this breakdown. This is where it gets really interesting. Live human supervision? PresenceID has it. Alternatives often don't. Tamper-resistant hardware? Check. And here's a huge one. No end-user control of the device during the proofing process. That is a critical security feature that PresenceID has. But solutions that just use a person's own phone or tablet, they can't guarantee that. The comparison really does speak for itself.
And this right here, is the mic drop. PresenceID is the only solution certified by the Kantara Initiative, and they are a leading global group for digital identity standards, for something called Supervised Remote Identity Proofing. This isn't just a marketing claim, it's a rigorous third-party validation that the system meets the absolute highest standards. Period.
So, what does all this actually mean for you, for your organization? It means that difficult Mount Everest-like climb to certification, well, suddenly there's a much, much clearer path to the summit.
Let's just cut to the chase, and I'll use a quote from the source material here because it says it all. You can achieve FedRAMP High and DoD readiness faster and with lower operational costs. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
So at the end of the day, what's the outcome? It's pretty powerful. You eliminate one of the biggest barriers to compliance. You seriously strengthen your overall security posture. You streamline the entire process for all your teams, no matter where they are. And you can walk into your final certification audit with real confidence.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. Take a hard look at your own processes, your own strategy, and ask yourself, is your identity solution truly built to meet these incredibly demanding federal standards?